Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Kaiden Fisher. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing well. Okay, so before we kind of start this, kind of introduce yourself. Kaiden, of course, you are a short track racer. I should have prefaced that, but and also kind of how you got into racing.
Um, I've been going to the track since I was like probably 6 months old. I always used to watch my dad race, and then I slowly got older and started in go-karts at my grandparents' house, and then I was able to try a go-kart at a real racetrack and um, went to race at the real track, and I practiced and I was really fast. So my dad went and bought me a go-kart and came home with it, and we went racing the next weekend and ended up winning the heat race and the feature. And then from there I raced the rest of the year and won the championship. And then I went the following year and moved up a division and won the championship in that too. And then I went to the pro division and I started racing cars that year. My first year in a real car, and I won the championship in cars and came up in one spot short of the championship in pros because I won one of the final races. I snapped a key in my rear end, so I lost the championship to that. But um, other than that, I started going to Thunder Road. I had to go there and because I was so young and make sure that I was able to race there, and I practiced there and I did good enough. And then I raced my rookie year at Thunder Road in street stocks, and I was able to win. I think it was 3 races that year, and I came up one spot short again in second for the championship. And then I raced the same division the next year and won the championship and became the youngest track champion there. And then I moved up to the second highest rank there, called the Tiger Division, and I won 2 races that year. And I didn't do the best in points, but it was a okay year. And then this past year, I moved on to late models and I finished second in the points and won 2 races and had a pretty good year last year.
Okay, all right. I know there was a lot there, and I'm gonna like take it apart and ask you little things. So you won your first so you were the youngest track champion. How old were you when you did that?
I was 13 when I won my track championship there.
Yeah, not many 13-year-olds are going out and winning track championships. To do that so young, did you like how much do you remember about that? About that?
I remember some of it. I remember some of the ups in the season and um, some of the hard parts of the season and all the nights working on the car down there and at the shop and stuff. Um, but probably the biggest part of it was when like we went into the last race and I had a pretty good points lead. I think I was like 20 points ahead, but I knew that it was possible to mess up and make a mistake. And when we were coming into the last lap, last corner, the whole field wrecked and I was like right in the middle of it and I made it through, and that was cool to win the championship being that young and have that good of a year.
Yeah. I mean, hard to believe that was only 3 years ago. So that would be in 2021.
Yep, not too long ago.
So to have that, like, to be so young, to have so much success early on, what is it like to kind of just build yourself up just so young, and to kind of get to have the success that you did?
Um, yeah, I've never really thought of myself of being like that much younger than everybody else when I go out there. When I go out there, I kind of try and think of myself as like the same as them, and I try and do my best or better than them. I try to never think of how much younger I am than them, but always people come over and ask about it and what it's like to be so much younger.
Yeah. Who's like the biggest like person that's really kind of helped you the most in, in your kind of your career a little bit?
I'd say definitely my dad. He always um, helps me out at the shop if I need help working on the cars, or he gets me to the racetrack when I wasn't able to drive to the track. And then when we're at the track, he always is coaching me and telling me what I can do differently to go faster and what I can do better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely my dad.
Okay, so let me ask you this. How do you handle like when someone's like critiquing you, or it's like, okay, you did really well here. You need to do maybe this much better here, but you didn't do this good at all. How do you handle like, positive stuff, feed or things you need to work on, things you need to improve on, or something like that? How do you handle that? As
Uh, Yeah, I always like feedback. Um, I always listen to feedback, and I like to try and understand it. So if I always need to know how that will work and what it will change and make differently. Um, and so I always take it in and I use the feedback that I understand and think that it will work, and then the feedback that I disagree with, I don't take, or I'll try it and see if it works or not. um, but yeah, I always try and get as much feedback and take in as much as I can.
well, I know, being in short track racing, of course, everybody, how well do you know your race car? As I always like to ask, like, working on your own car and stuff, and I can tell that you do a lot. So, what's it like to just work on these things?
Uh, yeah, I like driving them and stuff, but it's also fun to work on them too. And I work on them every pretty much every night of the week during the race season.
Absolutely.
And I have people that come down and help me and work on them too. But I feel like it's better to know more about your race car, and I like to know how it works. And um, I think it helps out for the longer races when you have to save tires and stuff, to know how the car works and what you can do differently to save more tires and things like that. So I definitely think it helps to know more about it.
Okay, so you're from the Vermont area. Of course, you go to the Thunder Roads, Speed Bowl, and all that stuff. Of course, the track that was owned by the late Ken Squire for so many years, and what's it like going there, and how many milk bowls have you been at?
Um, well, I've been at a lot watching my dad, but I have raced in two of the milk bowls for late models. My first one, I qualified third for the Milk Bowl, and then this past year, I didn't do quite as well as what I was hoping to do, but um, it still went okay. So I think I've been at, oh boy, I've probably since I've been born, I've been at every one. So the
Okay.
past 16 Milk Bowls, probably.
Really? Um, so like what is racing like up in the Northeast from your perspective?
um, it's definitely different. I've gone and watched some races down south and stuff. But I think it's different, but it's also a lot the same. The cars are different, but um, up here everybody races, and I feel like everybody kind of knows each other around here. We're down south, it's a lot of bigger names, and I feel like you race with a lot of different people, but around here you kind of know everybody, and um, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Who do you, I know I think I asked you who you look up to, and obviously you said your dad. Is there anybody else that really has kind of stood out to you, or, has accomplished a lot and that you really, look up to and stuff?
Um, I watch a lot of the super late model guys, and that's kind of like what I want to do is move up through the ranks and try and get there. So I look at a lot of people like I don't know, Donnie Wilson or Anthony Campy. I watch all those people, or I don't know. I see everybody. I watch William Sawalich, and he's pretty young too, so I like watching him and things like that. But I always watch people and try and see what they do and see what I can take from them and learn.
Okay, so what are your plans coming up for this season? Where are we going to see you?
I'll be at Thunder Road full time, and then we're gonna try and do the tour full time as well. So I'll travel all around the Northeast with that, and hopefully be able to get Rookie of the Year in that, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe championship even. We'll see though how well the year goes, and then if we have time, we'll do some pass racing too as well.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so the tour you were talking about is the American Canadian tour, if I'm not mistaken.
yes, that is right. The American Canadian Tour, and they race in all over and some in Canada.
All right. How do you like mentally get ready for a race?
Um, I don't do too much. I wake up and pack the trailer and do kind of that normal routine. And then when I get to the track, I try and not really like I focus on the racing, but I try to keep calm and have fun and hang out with the crew, and I work on the car and stuff while we're at the track, and just kind of stay, not take my mind off it, but just stay kind of low focused. And then when it's time and you strap in, that's when everything kind of gets, you get in the zone and you don't really think about much besides how to move forward and get to the front.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Okay, now it's time to get to know Kaiden, get to know you, Kaiden, a little bit. How about that?
Sure.
Okay, so let's most memorable race that you were a part of.
um Most memorable race. Well, the all the races at Thunder Road are kind of been going on for like 60 years or more. But my most memorable race is probably my first ever late model win. Because that's was my biggest accomplishment last year. Um, was winning my first late model race and being young and doing that. So probably that race.
On a scale of 1 to 10, like when you win, I know you get excited. Do you get emotional a little bit there too?
Um, I'm kind of like a calm person and I don't get too excited, but I'm definitely always excited, but I probably don't show it as much as I am excited. But yeah, I don't really show too much emotion.
All right. Let's see. You're only six. I forgot to mention this. You're only 16 years old. So I know you've only been 16 for a little bit, but what's it like to, have your driver's license and get to drive you know, drive by yourself and all that stuff? What's that like for you? And I obviously you have a ton of experience, and they always say like good race car drivers are may also end up being good drivers as well.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun having my license and being able to drive places and drive to school and get to go places that you maybe not could have gone, like go have more fun and stuff. But yeah, I like to drive. That's kind of like what I do. I just go around and I'll drive, and I like looking at cars and trucks and things like that on my free time. So I'll go look at cars and trucks, and I'll just drive around, and yeah, that's about it.
What's your go-to place for food?
There's this place in Shelburne that I like. It's called Archie's Grill, and that's where I always go. I eat there before races.
Not like
before every race.
not like a superstitious thing or something?
I don't know. I I started eating there, and I think I won the race like the day that I ate there, and then I've always just ate there since.
Hey, well, it is a superstitious thing if you keep going there, and so you gotta keep it going, man. So,
Yeah, exactly.
okay. I know with traveling and all that, if you have time for this, favorite TV or streaming show that you're really into right now or were into in the past?
Um, I watch a lot of movies and stuff, but I never really have a favorite of everything. I just kind of like little things about
Like
things,
you
but
just
I
like to
don't.
watch what's on and stuff.
Yeah, but I always try and find a racing movie or something like that.
Okay. All right. And finally, let's ask this. What is an interesting thing people do not know about Caden?
Um, I don't do too much on my free time, but I do some mountain biking and stuff like that. So I bet most people don't know that I mountain bike probably.
All right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's an interesting fact people might not know. So I like to ask them. All right. Well, Kaiden Fisher, thank you so much for taking the time to do this, and best of luck in your racing season this year.
Thanks for having me.